For money, I pretended to be an omega to seduce tycoon Silas Carter before faking my death. 2 years after he wept over my ashes, the truth came out. When Silas cornered me, I was flirting with a newly acquired wealthy omega. No rush buying property. Let's discuss how you'll give me children first. Before I could finish, a hand gripped my nape, yanking me backward into a rock-solid embrace. I want children too. Let's have that discussion. Silas growled, kneading my scent gland. With enough force, even an alpha can get pregnant. I never imagined seeing Silas again after taking the money and disappearing. The man sat across the gambling table in custom-tailored clothes, cigarette between his fingers, staring unblinkingly at me. His presence loomed like thunderclouds. Sweat trickled down my spine as I avoided eye contact. If I played this right, he might not recognize me. After all, my gender didn't match anymore. During our past entanglement, I'd committed fully to the Omega Act, starving myself skeletal, bleaching my skin pale, buying gland concealing patches and synthetic jasmine omega pheromones on the black market. The current me bore no resemblance to that delicate facade. I palmed my defined abs, reassured by my alpha musk radiating raw dominance. The ultimate alpha among alphas, the manliest of men. Steeling myself, I reached for the cards. Silas leaned back, features obscured by smoke. You remind me of someone, he said abruptly. Meeting his gaze without flinching, I flashed wolfish teeth. Lots of omegas use that pickup line. He tapped ash into the tray, studying me through haze. You look like my wife. My grin died. Wife? Since when? Even during our 2-year arrangement, I'd barely qualified as a fuck buddy. He'd fuck, finish, and leave, though always paid promptly. Our longevity stemmed entirely from my shameless devotion. Taking his kisses, his rough handling, spouting filth like so big and harder until he'd clamp a hand over my mouth snarling, just breathe. Bedroom theatrics aside, Silas never spared me a word outside sheets. This was his idea of spousal treatment? No wonder he stayed wifeless. Besides, despite countless frenzied couplings, he'd never marked me, not even temporary. Hence maintaining my fake omega status for over a year. Silas' smile turned macabre. Know what? My wife's ashes smelled like baby formula. Took me 2 years of clutching that urn to realize. Chills spider-walked my spine. Silas, crying? Bullshit. I'd seen this man pull knives from his flesh without flinching and stab them back. If he shed one tear for me, I'd legally take his surname. Leaning forward, his eyes glinted predator bright. Tell me, what kind of corpse turns into powdered milk? I forced a dry laugh and said, maybe your wife was unconventional. Damn it. Shouldn't have used baby formula instead of ashes. Getting caught was beyond awkward. Silas didn't comment, stubbing out his cigarette before leisurely flipping his cards. Jace, you lose. Of course Silas hadn't come specifically to gamble with me. He'd been killing time at the tables while waiting for Logan, the casino owner. The reason I'd agreed? The stakes Silas offered were insane. Every degenerate gambler has that delusional confidence. Never crossed my mind I might lose. Plus I knew Silas, the guy never touched gambling. No experience whatsoever. Yet here I was, capsized in a fucking gutter. 3 rounds and I was cleaned out. Silas stood, buttoning his tailored suit with that infuriating smirk. Pleasure doing business tonight. I clenched my jaw, itching to smash my fist into his pretty boy face. His good mood came at my expense. Logan arrived fashionably late, ushering Silas upstairs. When Silas descended hours later, I was still at the tables. The bastard was my bad luck charm, hadn't won a single hand since our game. Chain smoking, eyes bloodshot, I shoved another stack forward. The hairs on my neck prickled. Glancing up, I found Silas leaning against the stairwell, cigarette dangling from his lips. Whatever. Keep staring. Asshole. Still an alpha here. He moved through the crowd like smoke, gloved hand sliding under my ribs to cover my trembling fingers on the dice cup. A mockery of an embrace. His breath ghosted my ear through the chaos. Jace, if you see my late wife, tell him next time, I'll fuck him dead. Silas twisted our joined hands, flipping the cup. Winning roll. Meeting my glare, he pressed his half-smoked cigarette between my lips. Till we meet again. That smirk chilled my marrow. Like a predator sizing up where to tear first. Gambling's a fickle bitch. 3 days ago I had cash. Now, debt so deep the bouncers tossed me into the alley. Scrounging a soggy cigarette, but I plotted my escape. 2 problems. 1. Silas might have recognized me. If he realized the scam I pulled, let's just say the Chesapeake Bay crabs would feast. 2. The 6-figure debt. Made it 3 blocks before Logan's goons dragged me back. 7 days in the basement later, I emerged half dead and thoroughly collared. 1 month to pay up. Fucking Silas, human bad luck charm. Back to what I know best. Tonight's mark? A rose-scented trust fund Omega with interesting tastes at the upscale lounge. Rose Davenport, nicknamed Rosie, enjoyed feeding drinks to alphas. When Silas Carter pushed open the private room door, I was being force-fed alcohol with Rose gripping my face. She was riding high, her eyes bloodshot with excitement. Jay can really hold his liquor, she murmured against my throat, her Adam's apple bobbing. Swallow faster. Come on. Faster. I arched backward, desperately catching the torrent of liquor pouring down my throat. Someone shouted, "Mr. Carter's here," and Rose finally released me to greet the newcomer. Kneeling on the floor, I wiped my mouth as polished Oxfords stepped into my line of sight. The man settled directly across from me, crossing his legs with practiced elegance. "What's the game here?" The familiar baritone made my scalp prickle. Rose laughed. "Just playing with my new puppy." "Puppy?" Silas repeated, amusement coloring his tone. The cold leather of his shoe pressed under my chin, forcing my head up. My gaze traveled from his tailored trousers over the tendon-corded hands resting on his knees, past the custom shirt straining against his chest muscles, avoiding the face I'd recognize anywhere. Fuck. Of all people. His stare weighed heavy on my flushed skin. Enjoying being a puppy? Before I could answer, Rose chimed in. "He's fantastic. Jay drinks like a porn star all-throat action." "Is that so?" Silas picked up a fresh bottle, thumb circling the rim. "Let's see this famous speed." He gripped my jaw, shoving the bottle into my mouth with brutal efficiency. "Don't waste a drop," he warned as liquor flooded my throat. "This costs more than your life." I choked, tears streaming as I clawed at his wrist. Silas remained immovable, watching my struggle with darkening eyes. Any spillage goes in through another hole. The room froze until the door swung open again. Evan Powell walked in, Silas' childhood friend. First love. The untouchable one. "What's going on here?" Evan's slender hand closed over the bottle. "Silas, stop this." His gentle reproach did what my frantic tugging couldn't. The bottle lifted from my lips instantly. Everyone knew Silas Carter bowed to only one person. Evan, the Omega who'd shared his childhood, been his fiancé, then famously humiliated him by cheating publicly before fleeing overseas. 5 years ago, when Silas became tabloid fodder, I'd been dodging loan sharks. Seeing that coldly elegant man on TV, I'd seized my chance, using my resemblance to Evan to become a willing substitute for the betrayed alpha. Silas had taken out every ounce of rage on me. Yet here was Evan, welcomed back without so much as a harsh word. A single teardrop from Evan erased years of betrayal, while my tears only made Silas fuck me harder. The man who broke beds with me became putty in Evan's hands. I thought myself a professional at playing the desperate lover. Watching them now, I realized I was strictly amateur hour, allowing Evan to take the bottle away. Silas leaned back wearily and told me, "Don't mind me, just having fun." I knelt on the floor, choking violently as I gasped for air. Evan helped me up. "You okay?" "Silas has a temper. Sorry about tonight." He shot Silas a reproachful look. "Apologize properly." Silas remained silent, his gaze skating over me with indifference. Evan kicked his shin, playfully scolding. "Fucking disgusting. Flirting in front of me? Save the apology." I wiped my mouth and shoved Evan away, staggering to my feet. "Cash works better. $20,000 per bottle." I stared Evan down. "You paying or him?" Evan froze when he got a proper look at my face. His expression darkened as he studied me. From the shadows, Silas murmured hoarsely, $20,000 to kneel like a dog. His laugh scraped like gravel. "Pathetically cheap. Cheap? Huh? Think $20,000 too low? Fine. Let's negotiate premium rates. Grabbing another bottle, I lunged forward and smashed it across Silas' head. Blood and liquor dripped down his perfect features as I grinned. My bad. Temper issues. Finally breathing easy. Wanted to deck him for ages. So what if I play lapdog for cash? Beats licking boots for love. My shitty life's already rock bottom. Couldn't care less if Silas comes for revenge. Back at the bar, I hooked a cinnamon-scented Omega Air, blushing furiously, babbling about buying me a penthouse. Pinning him against the wall, I tilted his flushed face up. Let's discuss how you'll give me babies first. Cold fingers clamped my nape, yanking me into a familiar chest. Silas' icy breath ghosted over my ear. I want children too. Discuss with me. Burnt gunpowder flooded my senses. The scent I drowned in for 2 years. My bones remembered. Silas kneaded my scent gland. Body pressing closer. Heard hard enough friction gets alphas pregnant. His glare sliced toward the trembling Omega behind me. Grip turning brutal. How many should we make? The kiss tasted like violence. I couldn't swallow fast enough. Saliva dripping down my chin. When Silas released me, my cinnamon roll had fled. Fuck. My golden ticket and penthouse gone. I seized Silas' collar, snarling. Why won't you fucking disappear? Bar lights flickered across his obsidian eyes. Scamming Omegas is illegal. Alphas? He pinned me against the wall, hands sliding under my shirt to palm my lower back. Con me instead. I'm rich. His thumb circled mockingly. Name your price. Whose money isn't money? Silas was practically begging to be scammed, and I didn't let him off the hook either. I laughed and said, 7 million. Are you giving it to me? Silas idly stoked the fire between us. You think you're worth 7 million? I grew irritated and clamped down on his increasingly bold hands. If you're not paying, keep your paws to yourself. He knew all my weak spots. Does paying grant full access? Silas asked with deceptive calm, enunciating each word. What about full privileges? Sure. I leaned against the wall, grinning. Play however you want. His smile faded as he withdrew his hand, sliding an icy card between my lips with sudden cruelty. Strip. Right here. The bar throbbed with noise as Silas' voice cut through, laced with glacial malice. Jace, I'm gonna break you right here. The man really committed to humiliating me. Back when we hooked up at home, he'd triple-check the blackout curtains. Would shake off any public hand-holding attempts. That time I teased him in the car. He'd practically burst a vein just stealing one kiss before pinning me across his lap, muffling my mischief until we got home. 2 years of me being dead apparently loosened his inhibitions. Couldn't care less about crowded venues now. 2 fully dressed men stacked in shadowy corners, conducting the filthiest transaction. Silas' breath ghosted over my gland, sniffing like some predator. So you're cream-flavored. His chuckle vibrated against my skin. A cream-scented alpha? Without warning, he clamped teeth into the tender flesh, tongue laving the bite mark. Cloyingly sweet. Still claimed to be alpha? The gland torture had me seeing stars, trembling with barely contained need. Silas gripped my jaw, gaze dropping to my debauched expression. Look at this slutty face. Getting railed by another alpha turns you on this much? Hell yeah, it did. His deliberate torment irritated me more than any humiliation attempt. All tease, no action. Enough talk. Move. Silas huffed a laugh, one hand anchoring my waist, the other smothering my mouth as he nipped my earlobe. Don't cry later, or scream. I won't go easy. That move demand cost me dearly. I ended up a boneless heap in Silas' arms, carried back to the car. My gland felt flayed raw from his repeated bites, each injection of incompatible pheromones making my skull throb, cream and gunpowder swirling into nauseating dissonance. Sprawled across his lap, I could only endure his merciless kneading of the swollen gland. Alpha pheromones repelled each other, the volatile mixture evaporating quickly. Showing zero compassion, Silas brushed aside my sweat-damp hair before bending to sink his canines deep again, pumping more foreign essence into the abused tissue. The invading pheromones stabbed like needles, violent and lawless. Cold sweat dripped down my temples as I grabbed Silas by the hair, yanking him away roughly. Stop biting. I'm not a damn Omega. Silas licked his canines, looking thoroughly pleased with himself. Of course you're not. His thumb pressed into the fresh bite mark on my neck. No Omega would be this disobedient. Then why the hell? Marking's not the only way. His breath hitched as his fingers traced the swollen gland. If I can't claim you, his teeth found my earlobe. I'll keep pumping you full until my scent overflows. The bastard actually purred against my skin. Every inch of you'll reek of me. Might as well tattoo property of Silas Carter across that pretty throat. I believed every word. This was the same lunatic who'd once handcuffed me to his bed's canopy. Didn't stop even when I passed out from dehydration. Thank God I'm an alpha. Any Omega would have died from his brand of affection. You know? I wheezed as his teeth found my collarbone. Mary's has excellent psychiatric services. We should book you a tour. He carried me back to his penthouse anyway, clinging like a koala all night. Morning revealed empty pockets where my $7 million chip should have been. I stormed into his marble-walled study. Where's my card? Silas glanced up from his laptop, crooked finger beckoning. When I leaned in, his lips brushed my knuckles. Say hubby first. The screen behind him showed 8 frozen corporate faces. My palm slammed the laptop shut. Your Zoom call wasn't muted. For 10 glorious seconds, New York's most feared venture capitalist hid behind his hands. Then, stubborn as ever, 2 hubbies. Final offer. I draped myself over his shoulders. Honey sweet. Hubby, give me back the card? Please. Hubby? His pupils dilated. Left pocket. My fingers took the scenic route through his slacks, smirking at his hitched breath. The black Amex emerged, but his grip trapped my wrist. Keep the money. His throat worked. Just stay away from the tables. Jace, promise me, and I'll let you walk. Sure thing, boss. The lie came easy. By sunset, I'd lost 3 Lamborghinis at the Hellion Club. They broke 2 ribs before tossing me into the alley. Blood pooled under my cheek as rain diluted the neon puddles. Same damn pattern as Silas' Persian rug. Collapsed in a filthy alley. Polished leather shoes stepped into my line of sight. Silas crouched before me, tilting my exhausted face upward. How much this time? 5 million. His thumb brushed my jawline. His calm tone gave nothing away. If you couldn't keep your word, why make promises? Lying to me amuses you? I stared through the haze of withdrawal, throat working. Silas, lend me 5 million more. I'm close. So close. I'll win it all back. Why should I? My voice cracked. I'll do anything. Let you use me, however. His grip turned punishing. You'd whore yourself for gambling money? To anyone? I met his frosty gaze, the faint disdain in those gray eyes. With a self-destructive laugh, I hissed, yes, you're rotten to the core, Jace. His clinical detachment cut deeper than anger. Foolish of me to think you'd change. Some creatures are incapable of redemption. I believed. His lashes lowered, voice fracturing. At least you'd. A bitter smile twisted his lips. Expecting decency from you? My mistake. Heartless things shouldn't be held to human standards. If only I were heartless. Then his words wouldn't carve bloody trenches through my chest. I swallowed bile. Clear my debts. I'll quit. For real this time. Silas released me like contaminated garbage. Liar. He stood, rain glazing his aristocratic features with cruel beauty. You had your chance. The drizzle soaked through my clothes after he left. Shivering, I remembered 2 abstinent years, playing the reformed Omega, scrubbing myself raw to mimic decency, nearly believing my own act. White-knuckled sobriety. Stolen moments with society's golden prince. A fairy tale crumbling at midnight when Evan returned. Cinderella's pumpkin carriage dissolving, leaving only the stench of rat fur and gutter filth. The rain abruptly ceased. I opened swollen eyes to find Silas's umbrella shielding me, droplets tracing his jawline. Get up. His knuckles whitened on the umbrella handle. Since you lack self-control, I'll enforce it. Every craving, every tremor, I'll be there. We'll purge this sickness together. His exhale misted between us. Even if it destroys us both. He reached out to me. Jace, get up. His tone was cocky, the net restraining me clearly beneath his notice. Let's see how hard it really is to quit this shit. I stared at Silas for a long moment before covering my eyes with my arm, laughing bitterly. How hard? Not hard at all. All it took was someone saying, Jace, get up. Someone telling me, Jace, stop gambling. 27 years. No one but Silas ever said those words to me. My deadbeat father taught me nothing except how to place bets. I walked alone through this godforsaken life. Nobody gave a damn. So why should I? Rotting or dying, what difference did it make? Should have happened sooner. If Silas had found me earlier, reached out sooner, the real addiction wasn't gambling. It was something else. I'm already trash. Can't let Silas see me sink lower. So I slapped his hand away lazily. What? You think you're some fucking savior? No cash. No chat. Shoving upright, I staggered into the rain. Faster. Had to get away before collapsing. Footsteps pounded behind me. A hand closed around my wrist. Fuck off. I roared, wrenching free without turning. Blood filled my mouth from biting through flesh. Silas didn't speak. He hoisted me over his shoulder like a sack of grain, marching toward his car. I kicked and cursed, thrashing like a rabid animal. He pinned me down with the ease of a cowboy wrestling a greased pig, landing a sharp smack on my ass. Quit squirming or I'll hogtie you. I went limp, not from obedience, but exhaustion. By the time he dumped me in the passenger seat, cold sweats glued my shirt to skin. Shallow breaths hitched as the world tilted. Logan. I clawed at Silas' shirt, words fragmenting. Logan has the stuff, medicine. His brows furrowed. What medicine? Fire ants crawled under my skin. I raked bloody streaks down my neck, screaming hoarsely. Find Logan. Please. Silas gripped my jaw, forcing eye contact. Recognition flashed across his face, followed by icy rage. Jace, you absolute fucking idiot. His knuckles whitened. You let him inject that poison? When Logan's men had caught me fleeing last month, they jammed a needle in my arm, called it Pharmacube, some new bioweapon scrambling pheromones. Now my nerves screamed like live wires. I headbutt the window, thrashing against Silas' restraints. He wrestled me flat, using his belt to tie my wrists. Shirtless now, he bound my ankles with his undershirt. When I nearly bit through my tongue, he shoved his forearm between my teeth. Bring me Logan, he barked into his phone, pinning my convulsing body. Alive. A pause. Mostly alive works too. I sank teeth deep into flesh, tasting copper. Silas grimaced, patting my hair like calming a rabid dog. Easy, killer. The gentleness broke me. I bucked wildly, sobs ripping through chemical fire. Somewhere between agony and delirium, I felt his hold tighten, an anchor in the storm. Silas. He pinned my legs down. Fine. Bite wherever. Just make yourself happy. When I regained consciousness, my throat felt raw. Turning my head, I saw Silas dozing on the armchair by the bed. His left sleeve was rolled up, revealing deep bite marks that nearly reached bone. The metallic taste of blood lingered in my mouth. Silas looked exhausted. Not wanting to disturb him, I quietly reached for my clothes. I just pulled on my pants when his raspy voice stopped me cold. Run. He drawled from the chair, eyes glinting dangerously. Step 1 foot outside this bedroom. I'll break both your legs. I froze mid-motion. Take them off, he commanded, nodding at my jeans. Get back in bed. I scrambled to obey, sliding under the covers like a chastised puppy. Water? I croaked. He wordlessly brought a glass to my lips. What else? Licking parched lips. I dared wanna fuck you. Silas drained the remaining water, throat working. Ambitious. He smirked, setting the glass down. The mattress dipped as he climbed in, nuzzling my scent gland. Think you've got the stamina? The room reeked of my pheromones, drug-induced heat radiating from every pore. His stubble scraped my neck, igniting fresh tremors. 2 rounds won't kill me, I breathed. His palm pressed low on my abdomen. Jace, he murmured, fingers dipping below my waistband. If I find your conception chamber, could you get pregnant? Impossible, I scoffed, though his touch made my hips jerk. Alpha anatomy didn't work that way, at least not in any textbook I'd read. Let's test that theory. His teeth grazed my mating gland. What followed redefined my understanding of S-class alphas. When my phone rang during the third assault, I nearly wept with relief, scrambling for the device. I gasped, "Your phone. Answer it." Evan's voice floated through the speaker. "Silas? Can you pick me up from Celestial Lounge? These investors won't let me leave." Fuck. Should have let him keep searching for mythical anatomy. "Busy," Silas growled, dragging me back by the ankle. His teeth sank into my shoulder as he added, "Priorities." Evan's tone sharpened. "What's more important than me?" The vibration of Silas' chuckle against my spine preceded his reply. "Plenty." I couldn't suppress the moan when his tongue lapped at fresh bite marks. "Who's there?" Evan demanded. Silas flipped me onto all fours, grip bruising my hips. Irrelevant. The call disconnected as he proved, yet again, why chasing mythical anatomy could be persuasive. Silas didn't want to elaborate. Just hang up. Evan remained silent for a moment before letting out a bitter laugh. "Silas, you're still blaming me deep down, aren't you? You claim to have forgiven me, but you've never truly moved past it." His voice cracked. "But even if you resent me, don't use strangers to hurt me. Okay. I know I wronged you before. I've admitted it. I've tried everything to make amends. If you still care at all, stop these childish games." Silas absently kneaded the gland at the nape of my neck, his fingers lingering a beat too long. "Evan, my boyfriend knows an excellent psychiatric facility. Should I text you the address?" "Me?" The next morning, a private physician arrived to examine me. Silas flipped through my medical report with a stormy expression. "When my husband passed away," he said abruptly, "he weighed 157 pounds. Wait, really?" He tossed the documents onto the coffee table. "Now you're down to 120. His gaze sharpened like honed steel. 37 pounds gone. The accusation hung unspoken. Where had those pounds disappeared to? I averted my eyes, unable to resist the jab. That urn of ashes couldn't have weighed 37 pounds to begin with. "Charming," Silas deadpanned. Regaining control over my pheromones proved excruciating. During withdrawal episodes, I'd collapse at Silas' feet, begging for suppressants through tears. Cursed him, struck him, sank my teeth into his forearm. He had custom restraints made, padded chains that still left bruises blooming across my wrists. After repeated struggles, the skin there began festering. Silas stopped using the chains after that. Instead, he'd pin me down himself during my fits. Once, wild-eyed and desperate, I grabbed a paring knife and plunged it into his shoulder, screaming, "Let me go. Just give me the damn pills. I can't do this anymore." The madman didn't even flinch. Blood seeped through his dress shirt as he tightened his grip, murmuring against my temple, almost through the worst of it, "Sweetheart, just hold on a little longer." Agony twisted through me like a living thing. I became feral, thrashing and clawing at him. "Get off. I'd rather die, Silas. Please just let me die." He pressed his forehead to my heaving chest, fingers locked around my nape. "Never." The raw tremor in his voice cut through my haze. "Jace, after losing him, I spent a year and a half sobbing over an empty baby formula tin. That kind of pain?" His breath hitched. "I'm never surviving it again." When clarity returned, I traced the bandage on his shoulder. "Next time I lose control," I whispered, "use the chains. Because this maniac would have let me stab him through the heart without loosening his embrace." 2 months into detox, my pheromones gradually stabilized. The cravings still came, but now I could grit through them without dissolving into chaos. Silas never mentioned his own collection of fresh scars, though they outnumbered mine. Once deemed recovered enough, I regained outdoor privileges. Silas had originally come to the southern branch for business negotiations, but spent months instead managing my meltdowns. Now buried under postponed work, he'd leave before dawn, yet never failed to issue the same warning. "You can explore the city, but be home before sunset." The man practically invented micromanaging. "Don't go to casinos or bars. Don't talk to strangers or accept anything from them." I smirked, hooking my arm around his neck to kiss him silent. "Relax, Silas. I'll be good." Silas stared at me wordlessly. That night, I didn't make it home on time. An old gambling buddy intercepted me on the street. In a shadowed alley, he pulled a vial from his coat, eyes darting nervously. You asked about this stuff before, right? Got it here, $10,000 a pop. I studied the vial while rolling a cigarette between my fingers. The addict swallowed hard, pressing. Logan got busted. Supplies dried up. Take it or I'll sell to someone else. Silas' wounds flashed through my mind. I grabbed the vial. Know anyone named Evan? The man palmed, shaking his head too fast. Never heard of him. You buying or not? The universe loved its cruel jokes. Every time I tried crawling out of this hell, someone dragged me back, whispering, "You'll never quit." Jace, 2 years ago. Now, those years with Silas. I'd almost believed my own act, the reformed degenerate playing house. Then Evan returned from overseas, unraveling everything with a single question. Does Silas know you're a gambling addict? I'm clean, I croaked. Evan's laugh cut like broken glass. Addicts don't reform. Leave before Silas discovers what you are. You know how he is, golden boy who settles for nothing but perfection. Had he known you reeked of casino floors, he'd never have touched you. My chest constricted. I'm clean. Pity dripped from his smirk. Our little spat made him act out, but I'll allow his tantrum. Still, I won't let him degrade himself with trash. Walk away now, or wait until he throws you out like used tissue. The gambling creeps found me anyway. They haunted my doorstep until Silas noticed. Who were those men? He'd asked, and my lies turned to ash on my tongue. I tracked them down, desperate. Goldtooth grinned. One game, Jay. Win and we vanish. Game bled into game. The casino swallowed me whole. Cheers echoing, chips clattering. Each victory hollowed me further. Evan's sneer materialized in the smoke. Addicts don't reform. Silas' face flashed through the haze. I fled, sprinting home through choked streets. Light spilled from our windows. I stumbled inside, breathless, and froze. Silas lay on the couch, forearm shielding his eyes. Evan hovered above him, fingers tracing his jaw. My intrusion paused what should have been a kiss. Our gazes locked. The interloper. The joke. Silas stirred. Someone there? Evan pressed him down. Smile venom sweet. No one. Softly, I whispered, Silas, I was wrong before. Can you forgive me? His voice was weary yet tender. Jace Wilson, I told you long ago, I never blamed you. Evan leaned closer, murmuring, let's go back to how things were. Back to the past. Rekindling old flames. Where did that leave me? I stumbled backward as their lips nearly met. Part of me wanted to rip Evan away, to demand answers from Silas, to slap him then kiss him breathless. But I'd forfeited that right months ago. Con artist, gambling addict, train wreck, everything except Silas Carter's lover. The fantasy crumbled. This charade should have ended weeks ago. At the Black Market funeral parlor, I ordered the full-service fake death package. Deliver the urn to Silas at dawn. I instructed. Let him wake to my ashes. Let him remember how I died while he tangled sheets with his precious Evan Powell. Even if he never loved me, this final sting would linger. The syringe glowed cobalt in dim light, liquid temptation. This poison once made Silas whisper love during withdrawal delirium. Like feeding candy to pheromones. One taste bred addiction. Stop the sugar rush. And biology turns traitor. Quitting nearly killed us both. Street dealers peddle this crap to control their puppets. No way some 2-bit gambler got it without connections. Someone wanted me relapsing. How much did Evan pay you to sabotage me? I demanded. After faking my death, I tracked down Goldtooth. His confession confirmed everything. Evan's money. Evan's instructions. Same trap. Twice. Amateur. Rolling the vial between fingers. Amused. Know what my boyfriend did to quit this poison. The blade scars on his torso flashed in memory. 2 months clean. He's wasting away faster than I am. I raised the syringe. This filth, Jace Wilson. Don't you dare. The roar froze my blood. Silas charged across the alley, fury radiating like stormfront. Shit. Shit, shit, shit. I backpedaled as his combat boot footsteps thundered closer. Silas. Wait. I wasn't. His arm banded around my waist, flinging the syringe against brick. The gambler hit the wall with a sickening crunch. Tell your boss. Silas growled. Pheromones sharp with gunmetal rage. Touch him again. I'll skin you alive. Dragged to his SUV. I babbled explanations. I swear I'm clean. You showed up too early. I was about to smash it. The car door slammed. Back at his penthouse. He pinned me against mahogany, hands tearing at my shirt. His desperation smelled like burnt whiskey. I yielded, letting him seek reassurance through bruising kisses. When Evan knocked on the door, Silas was at his peak, separated by the thin barrier. Evan's persistent rapping contrasted sharply with my trembling form pressed against the wood. Biting back whimpers, I shoved against Silas' chest with my free hand, hissing through clenched teeth. Someone's outside. Silas glanced down, effortlessly prying my resisting hand away to interlock our fingers against the doorframe. His breath scorched my ear as he murmured, "Then you'd better muffle yourself properly." The knocking ceased. Evan's plaintive voice filtered through. "Silas? Are you there?" Silas responded by trailing searing kisses down my neck, his movements growing more deliberate. My fingernails scrabbled uselessly against the varnished wood until I finally surrendered, slapping a hand over my mouth. "Damn this animal." Outside, Evan's pleading continued. "Please don't shut me out. I see the lights on. I know you're home." Silas' palm slid possessively down my hip, his whisper curling like smoke. "Arch your back." Evan's voice cracked. "I never meant to betray you that night. When my heat cycle hit and you weren't answering. The senior just gave me a temporary mark. Nothing else happened. I swear. I panicked and ran because I thought you'd find me disgusting." I tuned out the melodramatic confession. How touching. Now comes the tearful reunion scene. Silas suddenly gripped my throat, forcing me to meet his stormy gaze. "Where's your head at?" he demanded, wiping sweat from my eyes. I smirked. "Your beloved's pouring his heart out. Shouldn't you answer?" "My beloved's ashes are in an urn on my nightstand," Silas countered, tightening his grip on my slick palm. Delighted, I pressed against the door and moaned theatrically, "Oh, Silas, right there." The sniffling outside ceased abruptly. I shook with silent laughter until Silas swept me into his arms. "You haven't seen anything yet," he growled, carrying me toward the bedroom. 5 exhausting hours later, Silas finally stilled, tracing damp circles on my abdomen. "If there were a baby growing here, would you finally stay?" My voice emerged shredded. "Silas, I'm done. Let me breathe." He nuzzled my damp shoulder. "I kept waiting for you to admit it, to explain, to tell me you're still my husband." His arms tightened. "Am I waiting in vain, Jace?" My heart stuttered. "Screw consequences. The night your husband died," I rasped. "Where were you? Who were you with?" Silas went rigid. After endless seconds, realization dawned. "You came home that night, saw Evan here." His laugh held bitter amusement. "You thought I wanted him? After everything?" When I stayed silent, he exhaled sharply. "Grandfather's birthday banquet. I drank too much. Evan offered to drive me home." My head was splitting, barely conscious. I don't know what games he played, but I never touched him. Never wanted to. I snorted. "Yet you let him walk all over you. Even after he cheated. His father took a bullet for mine." Silas' jaw tightened. "That debt keeps me civil. Nothing more." His fingers traced the mating mark on my neck, the one he'd placed 7 years ago. The one I'd thought meant nothing when I found Evan in our bed that terrible morning. The same mark now burning like brand new. I grew up with my grandfather, and the old man adored me. My previous engagement was also arranged by him. Back then, I hadn't met you yet, and didn't have anyone special in my life. Marrying anyone would have been fine if it made Grandpa happy. There was no reason for me to refuse. When I found out Evan had been marked, I felt nothing. What could I possibly blame him for? Even if he'd slept with someone right in front of me, it wouldn't have mattered. My jaw dropped. What kind of twisted reality was this? The supposedly perfect couple everyone had gossiped about turned out to be Evan's one-sided fantasy? Silas gripped my face, forcing me to meet his gaze. "Now it's your turn. Why won't you ask me anything? What's the point of that mouth if you won't use it?" I pretended to consider this. "To kiss you, of course." Silas stared at me, completely unamused. After a long moment, he shoved away from the bed, grabbed a cigarette, and stalked out to the balcony. Watching his lonely silhouette through the sliding glass, I followed and leaned against the railing beside him. Smoke curled from his lips as he spoke to the night sky, voice flat. I used to hate you, you know. You'll never understand what those 2 years of thinking you were dead did to me. You can't imagine the guilt, the endless fucking regret. He turned, eyes bloodshot. Jace, I wouldn't care if you'd lied to my face. What destroyed me was you never even gave me a chance to explain. You convicted me without trial. No appeal, no parole. His hand trembled around the cigarette. How could you be so cruel? I reached out, hesitated, then pulled him into a firm embrace. I'm sorry, Silas. I was a coward. Tightening my arms, I vowed, but I'm done running. From now on, I won't retreat an inch. My laugh came out shaky. You're stuck with me forever. Only after my health stabilized did Silas deliver Logan and his mountain of evidence to the police. When they processed Logan, the man looked half dead already. He spilled every detail before the detectives could ask. Desperate to be locked up. Whatever Silas had done during those private sessions at the suburban safe house had broken him completely. I'd known about Logan's captivity for months. After each of my medical episodes, Silas would leave tense and return calmer. Curious, I tailed him once to that isolated villa. The faint screams from the basement still haunted me. Silas always showered and changed clothes before coming home. With my recovery, Logan got released. His testimony triggered Evan's arrest weeks later for involvement in illegal drug distribution. When they processed Evan, I met his glare with a grin. Lots of Omegas try that pickup line. The Carter family bombarded Silas with calls to intervene. His response never varied. No. One midnight, I woke to his hushed phone argument with his grandfather. You're lucky I didn't handle Evan myself. Keep him incarcerated. Old man. The safer for everyone. Silas had probably already uncovered most of what Evan had done. I kept my eyes shut, pretending to sleep. Silas stole a glance at me and lowered his voice further to placate the old man on the phone. Besides, my husband's about to get pregnant. If you don't behave, I won't bring him to meet you. Me? Are you kidding me? I touched my flat stomach, already considering taking Silas to see a doctor. This was beyond ridiculous. The other end said something inaudible. Silas declared with absolute confidence. So what if he's an alpha? If I'm strong enough, even an alpha can carry my child. After hanging up, Silas climbed onto the bed and wrapped his arms around me. Stop faking it. Jace, if you're awake, let's make that baby. The acrid tang of gunpowder tangled with sweet cream, two incompatible scents teasing each other into a dangerous dance. When the story finally ended, the prince held the glass slipper, scouring the kingdom until he captured his timid Cinderella.